Nigeria's National Information Technology Development Agency, that's NITDA, has been making significant efforts to harness opportunities in the tech space. The agency's efforts are not only geared towards harnessing opportunities in the tech space, but aimed at unlocking growth opportunities and building a tech ecosystem in Africa. This is why it has been partnering with various organizations to achieve its objectives, goals in organizing entrepreneurship boot camps, training programs to equip individuals with the necessary skills and knowledge to succeed in the tech space. Let's talk more about this, and I'm being joined by the right person. He's the Director General of the National Information Technology Development Agency, NITDA, Mr. Kashifu Inowa Abdullah. He joins from our Abuja studios. Thank you so much. It's good to have you on the show, DG.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, I'd like to start very quickly with all of the efforts being made by the agency. Obviously, we are seeing all of this. Journalists will report all of this. But specifically, looking at the pillars that you're holding on to for success, fostering digital literacy and cultivating talent comes to my mind. How are you going about this? How transparent is all of this? Tell us more what you think Nigerians need to know about this before we move on.
So thank you very much. Our strategic roadmap and action plan was crafted in line with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's drive to uplifting Nigeria through digital transformation, innovation, and economic growth. To achieve that, our minister, the Honorable Minister of Communications, Innovations, and Digital Economy, Dr. Bosun Tijani, launched the strategic plan for the ministry, which has 5 strategic pillars. Firstly, knowledge. Secondly, policy. Thirdly, is about infrastructure. Fourthly, is innovation, entrepreneurship, capital. And lastly, but not the least, is about trade. How can we trade our talent and our made in Nigeria product and services? So to implement this strategic plan at NITDA also, we crafted our strategic roadmap and action plan, which has 8 strategic pillars. Firstly is to foster digital literacy and cultivate talents. In Nigeria, our greatest resource is our human capital, and the president is committed to harnessing this, our human capital, to uplift our economic outcomes. Then to achieve that, at NITDA, we developed the National Digital Literacy Framework, a framework that will help Nigeria to achieve 95% digital literacy by 2030. That framework has 5 objectives. Firstly, is about universal access. We want every Nigerian to have access to digital literacy. Therefore, we are working with the Federal Ministry of Education to review our curriculums and include digital literacy as part of our curriculums from kindergarten to university. And also, we want to ensure that we achieve equitable access as well for all our demographics and also gender divide, to ensure everyone is part of that digital literacy. And we want to ensure our workforce is ready for the 21st century. Our students are ready for the future work. We train this public civil servant as well. And also we have training for artisans, for women, for children, and even for people living with disabilities. We have special training for them. So the strategy also, we are carrying everyone along. It was developed in collaboration with other ministries, departments, and agencies, multinationals, and stakeholders in the ecosystem. So we have started the implementation of that digital literacy framework. In the other side of the talent, because the literacy is to get our citizens to be able to use digital devices and platforms safely and responsibly, and to ensure it is inclusive. Every Nigerian has access to that. While the talent, we need to build our digital products and services in country. And also we need to position Nigeria as a talent net exporter. In the ministry strategy under knowledge, the minister has identified some initiatives. One of them is 3 million tech talent training, which we have started. We want to train 3 million Nigerians on technical skills in high demand, both locally and internationally. Before the training, we have conducted a research on skills gap in Nigeria and globally. And also there are other researches that resonated with what we do. Like there is a Conferry research on global tech talent crunch. In the research, the Conferry predicts that by 2030, there will be 85.2 million talent deficit globally. And if left unaddressed, that could result to 8.5 trillion US dollars in unrealized annual revenue. So Nigeria, if we position ourselves, we can benefit from this and we can bridge that talent gap because we have advantage in terms of our young population. Over 60% of Nigerian population is beyond the age of 25. So we can harness this population to our advantage, train our citizens on tech talents, and connect them with the global value chain. They can live in Nigeria and work abroad. And some also can go abroad, work, get the necessary experience, and come back to Nigeria to help us build the tech ecosystem, the same way India did it. India deliberately designed to train their people, send them abroad to work, and they come back and strengthen the local ecosystem. That's why today, if you look at C-level executives in the big techs globally, 20% of them are Indians because India is dominating the tech ecosystem. Also, in terms of business process outsourcing, India is the leading in terms, it has the largest market share in the business process outsourcing. Today, India makes over 200 billion annually in business process outsourcing. That means having Indians living in India and working remotely for other countries and other international organizations. Also in Nigeria, we have this plan as part of our fostering of the digital literacy and cultivating talents. We are working on making Nigeria as the premier destination for outsourcing globally, so that Nigeria, we can harness our competitive advantage in terms of our young population, in terms of our accent. We have better accent than India, and also our time zone. These are advantage to us in the business process outsourcing. So we are working on the national outsourcing strategy, which will launch it soon, that can help position Nigeria to create and capture value in that outsourcing industry as well. Then also, in addition to that, we have other areas we are working in harnessing talent to put them to meet our local demand, as well as to have them work remotely. So the second pillar in our strategic roadmap and action plan is to build a robust technology research ecosystem, because we need to look at beyond now.
Allow me to briefly interject you there before you go, because that's where I'm also headed. There are emerging technologies at this time, the AIs of this world, blockchains, robotics, and all of that. So how are we building that ecosystem to take advantage of all of this?
So under the 3MTT initiative launched by our minister, Dr. Bosun Tijani, we are creating an ecosystem, because we are not just training people. We have in the ecosystem the trainers, the providers, we have the partners, people that are willing, or organization to partner with us to deliver this training. We have state governments showing interest to partner with us. We have multinational companies as well helping us to achieve that. We have like IHIS offering to even pay for the learning center managers. So all these, the minister is coordinating in forming the ecosystem. And we also have placement organization that specialize in connecting people with jobs, because it's not just about the training. After the training, we need to connect this talent with jobs, or we need to help them to nurture the innovation and come up with innovative ideas to start their own businesses. So the ecosystem, we have the fellows, the participants of the training, we have the training providers, we have placement organization, and we have partners. These are the 4 critical stakeholders in creating the talent ecosystem. Then we are also creating a research ecosystem as well to back it. Because the talent is just for you to have a training so that you can have a job or you can start your business. But if we really want to build a robust and sustainable economy for our country, we need to do deep research in these emerging technologies. It is from there we can build services that can make our country to be proud of what we are doing. We can build digital public infrastructure ourselves. We can build digital public goods and super apps that can create value in our country. So that's why in our strategic pillar, the second pillar is about building that research ecosystem. And the minister in the strategic plan has already set a target for us. He wants us to put Nigeria on the top 25 percentile in 6 areas: artificial intelligence, blockchain, robotics, IoT, UAV, and additive manufacturing. These are the 6 emerging technologies the minister wants us to put Nigeria on the top 25, because they are all general purpose technology. They cut across so many sectors. And the mandate President Bola Ahmed Tinubu gave our minister is to accelerate Nigerian economic diversification by enhancing productivity in critical sectors through technological innovation. So you can see technology is permeating, is pervasive, is everywhere. Any sector you look at, you can use technology to enhance productivity and grow the economy. So that's why we are focusing more on deep research. How can we do research on using IoT in agriculture to enhance our agri-produce? How can we use research in using UAV in terms of enhancing our security, for example, blockchain in terms of enhancing our payment system and building trust within the digital space. So these are the areas we are working on when it comes to research. And the Honorable Minister launched 2 initiatives. And NITDA is working with the ministry, supporting the ministry to deliver on the two initiatives. The first one is about research grant. We are offering to give 45 Nigerians grants to do research on AI. And we want to use the outcome of those research to build our AI policy so that everything we do will be an evidence-based. And that will help when it comes to implementation. Because the major challenge of policies or strategy is sometimes we formulate the policies and craft strategy without execution mindset. The people developing the policies and the strategy, they don't know how to implement it, or they don't carry the people that will implement it along. But if you do it in this co-creating manner, we co-create the policy with the ecosystem. We have people that have done research. Then we use the input as part of the policy, and we get them to develop and build those solutions. We also launched another initiative this week about using fourth industrial revolution industry. We are targeting on using these emerging technologies in agriculture. We already have an initiative. We are working with the ecosystem. We have farmlands where we do proof of concept with all these technologies.
Moving on, when we talk about all of these issues around strengthening policy implementation and, of course, legal framework comes to my mind.
So when you talk about policy, mostly agencies, we implement policies and we issue legal frameworks in terms of regulations, standard guidelines, and framework. So under the ministry's strategic plan, the minister has identified 9 policies which we need to implement in this country. And NITDA is critical to implementing 7 out of the 9. So to implement some, we need to have legal frameworks in place. For example, we have a policy on digital public infrastructure. NITDA is to develop the standard for DPI in Nigeria. What we mean by digital public infrastructure is building super apps, building the digital public infrastructure blocks that can help us digitalize our services in Nigeria. So governments need to invest in this digital public infrastructure the same way we invest in conventional infrastructure like roads, railways, and airports. If you remember, all this investment for conventional infrastructure started as a result of second industrial revolution, where we started producing goods in mass production. And after that production, we need to move goods from one place to another. And today we are in a digital era. We are talking about digital economy. Our greatest resource in digital economy is the data. If you remember, there was this popular say that the new data, data is the new oil. But for me, data is more than even an oil, because oil is a finite resource, while data is an infinite. When you use data, you create and generate more data. But when you use oil, you finish it. So looking at that, we need to invest in that. And to do that, we need to have some legal frameworks. And if you look at globally, digital public infrastructure has 5 major blocks. You need to have identity system, you need to have payment system, data exchange platform, and you need to have broadband connectivity as an enabler. So in Nigeria, we have digital identity. We have NIN, which today we have more than 50% of Nigerians have NIN. Then we have payment system. We have a robust payment system in Nigeria. But what we are lacking is the data exchange platform where you can easily exchange services. If you give your information to NIMSI for NIN, you don't need to give the same information to immigration for passport or for driver's license and many more. And also, if someone has your NIN and put it anywhere, can get information about you. So this is what is lacking to help us achieve that. So part of what we want to achieve next year is to have standard for this data exchange platform and also a standard for public key infrastructure. Because we are talking about digitalizing our services, we need to have digital signature. We need to build and enhance digital trust so that people can use our digital platforms safely without any fear of anything can happen. So that will help us to achieve that. So we are working on that. In addition to that, also, we are working on the National Digital Economy Bill, a bill or a law that can give the legal framework for all this digitalization we are doing in the country. And there are many more legal frameworks also we need to put in place to solidify all what we do. There is some push for even having a bill for the digital literacy as well. And also we need to have a national standard for digital literacy. Because today, most of the certification we do, they are international certificates. Like if you want to be a network expert, you need to do Cisco. If you want to be a developer, you need to do AWS or Microsoft and many more. We can have a local standard because these skills is just to validate the certificate, is just to validate the skills you have. If we say for you to get promotion or to get opportunity to work in places, you need to be digitally literate, we should also have a local certification in digital literacy. So we are working on that also to have the legal framework for digital literacy.
Wow. DG, I think we need to have a part 2 of this conversation because we can go on and we can't finish this discussion today. But interesting discussion, I must say. I think we'll definitely continue from where we stop because I wanted to touch on security and some other things, but this is much time can take. Director General, National Information Technology Development Agency, Mr. Kashifu Inuwa Abdullahi, live from Abuja Studios. Thank you so much. We'll keep a tab on activities of NITDA, at least continue to see the positives from it. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, and I look forward to having another opportunity to interact with you.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much, DG.